John John Florence is moving through to the final. He'll retain the Jeep Leaders jersey.
Drives his rail through a strong second turn and cracks the lip.
Oh, I want to go back out so bad. The waves are so fun right now.
He'll go up against Kolohe Andino. Late drop, ducks under the lip.
He's super deep and super round.
And celebrates.
Yeah, I don't want to hold back. Just want to try to send it.
Kolohe Andino versus John John Florence with plenty of time on the clock to get started. Andino, as you can tell, already has a 4.0 as he got started quickly during the break. John with a big reputation all around the world, but specifically here in the West. Let's see that 4-point ride from Kolohe. This is how he got started, Potts.
Yeah, you know, wanting to get that quick start on John John, a smaller inside wave. You know, it's you've got to kind of just get out there and do exactly what he said, just send it. And a nice little barrel through the inside, but 4 points. I don't think that's going to be enough by the end of the day, Joe. I think he's going to need some excellent scores to win this heat against John John, but I like the opening maneuvers from Kolohe. Straight out of the gates firing, wasting no time whatsoever. And there's that rail game that he's been talking about, that he's working on. Looks like he's riding a little bit of a longer board as well. And that turn to finish off, I mean, wow. That was a great finishing move there from Kolohe. Super committed, nice and clean, and draws first blood here in the finals.
So a great start for Kolohe Andino, already building with some solid momentum against John John Florence. Florence holding priority, just took a look at a wave of 0.43. As we know, he had so many crazy totals in that victory in 2017. We're talking 19 plus combined totals, just like how he finished the final at the main break against Kolohe. A couple of years back when they were on stage together, they started reflecting on old times. Back in the NSSA days, Kolohe was the one winning all those national titles when they were kids. They've always been compared to each other. And John said, well, I finally got to get you back after beating me all those years when we were kids. But you could tell that just motivated Kolohe because he wants to get him back now. Florence rolling in, looking comfortable off the bottom. Classic John John wrap. Deep carve in transition. Right off the lip line. Jams that end section, air drops and controls it. Great answer back for John John with 32 minutes to go.
You know, just 75%. I reckon right there he was in cruise control, Joe. Just knew he was on the right wave, knew he just had to take his time. He's in a gentle combo, 11.17, so not much needed to get out of that combination situation. 7.17 for Kolohe, backed it up with a 4. And John John fires one straight back.
Kolohe likes to look at this wave. Hard off the bottom. Nice trim and cut back into the pocket. Sees the lip line coming down, attacks it. Out in front, nice little power gouge in transition. He'll wind up for the layback to finish. Really cool variety on his turn selection down the line. Told us he wasn't going to hold back. When you see a fun wave, why sit there and hold priority? He wants to go down swinging. He wants to put up a fight. He's landing all of his turns, though. He'll get rid of that 4.0.
You know, I kind of get baffled when people sort of talk about the fact that, you know, I didn't go that wave because I had priority. It's not a wave that you go on when you have priority. I tend to disagree. If the wave looks good, go for it, regardless of your status in the lineup. John John, first turn. Beautiful. Second turn. We're starting to see that flashes of John John's amazing talent out here. As he comes through the inside again and finishes strong there, a little bit off balance, but amazing to get that board back under his feet. Gets himself right back in the mix, but this is those turns that we love watching from John John. Gets his body in that, just that unique position. Opens those shoulders and then just has that extra little bit at the end of each maneuver. Mixing it up with a couple of nice vertical snaps and then a foam climb here at the end, just a nice lip line float. Creating that little bit of drama there at the end of that wave. And John John right back in the mix. Kolohe, can he answer back to that? Straight up vertical, two-turn combo there on the outside section. A little bit of a down carve on that maneuver. and kicks the tail out. Talk about variety of repertoire, combination of major maneuvers. 4.0 long gone for Kolohe, and he's going to back up that 7.17. This is what you got to do. Just keep that ball rolling, get some good waves under your belt, surf yourself into rhythm. Kolohe looking stronger and stronger as this heat progresses, Joe. Beautiful layback maneuver there, showing the judges everything in his bag of tricks. Finish that wave nicely. Scores dropping for that last rider, Kolohe.
Scores coming through as a 5.5 for Andino, 29:45 on the clock. Let's hear more from our champion. Lakey Peterson is with Rosie Hodge.
We have to, just savoring this moment. Lakey in the WSL Series All In, you identified this event as a weakness of yours. If I told you a few years ago you were going to win, what would you say?
I guess I would have had to believe you because you got to believe in yourself. But yeah, this event's just, it was a hard one for me to overcome. And like 5 years ago, whatever Mike said, I would win this event one day. And I was like, okay, really? Like, but yeah, we've just worked on waves like this. And I was really stoked that we ran today and not yesterday. And we actually had some swell. And there was a bit of wind in the final, which made it tricky. But that's so part of this place. And I think that just makes it so much sweeter. Yeah, so stoked.
What a well-deserved win. Your run through it has been extremely tough. Going up against 7-time world champ Stephanie Gilmore this morning, Carissa Moore, meeting Tati in the final. At what point do you feel like you caught fire?
Yeah, I think after the heat with Stephanie, I was like, all right, I got through that one. She's such a hard competitor for me to beat. And then, you know, Carissa was not much easier. So I don't know. I just tried to focus on it heat by heat. But yeah, I do feel like from the quarters on, I got some extra momentum and fire and sort of just figured it out there. And yeah, it was such an awesome event. Carissa, Tati, everyone was surfing so well, especially in that final. Congrats to Tati. She was ripping all year last year, and she's such a deserving just surfer and competitor. So was stoked to have a heat with her. But yeah, it feels so good. It was a tough road to a win on that one, the side of the draw I was on, so that makes it better.
Lakey in that title talk, but then also that spot for the Olympics, you got to be in the top 2 for your country. So how does it feel to start making a move for that?
Yeah, for sure. That's been on my mind. I think, you know, with a rough start to the season at Snapper and Bali, I've just been like, okay, it's all right. My 2 bad ones are behind me, and I'm just going to have fun and kind of, like I've been saying, just enjoy myself again and not get too caught up in all that, because the moment you do, I think it just can hinder, or at least for me, it can hinder me a bit. So I'm just having fun, and hopefully I'll go to the Olympics, but my goal right now is to be the best in the world at the end of the year. So.
Inspiring performance. Lakey Peterson, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rosie. Great words from the event champion, and what a road it's been in her career at Margaret River, and now a champion at the wave that she feared when she first came down here in the early stages of her career. Now wants it big, wants it challenging. She's right back in the title race heading into Rio. Meanwhile, John John Florence showing examples of what he threw down in the final against Kolohe 2 years ago during that catch-up with Lakey Peterson. Slow start, Kolohe starting early, and all of a sudden Florence really just took over.
Yeah, well, I mean, just that drop alone, Joe, just to take off under the lip and then goes into that first maneuver. That was nothing. Why? Because watch this turn here. That's the turn that we love from John John Florence. Holding that rail all the way through. That is the epitome of speed pound flow, what the judges are looking for. And straight away after that wave was ridden, Joe, I threw 9 fingers up. Why? Because that was definitely the best wave so far by a long shot. Late drop, straight into that first maneuver. A difficult thing to do. Not if your name's John John Florence, though. This guy's got a special relationship with main brake. Double pump bottom turn, setting it up nicely. Gets nice and low. And then just really trusting that equipment, trusting that line that he's drawing. And there is that maneuver that has just gathered so many points for him. It's ridiculous. If you could do a turn like that, you would pay a lot of money for it.
It's got to be the best carve in the game. When you think about the style he puts on it, the force of pushing that board at 100%. The takeoff was radical as well.
Yeah, the takeoff was beautiful. And then straight into that first maneuver. So there was no hiccups. Kept the rail nice and clean through that one as well. I mean, that was just, you almost gained speed. You know, a lot of the time you go into a maneuver like that, you kind of lose speed halfway through it. John John finds a way to actually gain speed through his turn. You know, around about halfway through that maneuver, he was doing about 70 miles an hour.
John Florence now with a 16.67 combined total. The 9 and a 7.67. That event we talked about where he absolutely dominated. He had a 19.27 total in the early round, 19.16 total in the next heat. His low scoring heat, an 18.04 total. Then to a 19.27 and a 19.03 total in the final. And that was in road to his second world title. He was the defending world champ, and he really took over the Australian leg of the tour in that second world title run. When you think about the comeback he has now, he has the ability to outperform what he did in the second world title run, because he already has a bell to his name. His first win at that venue. He could potentially leave West Oz with 2 wins out of the 4 that we've had on tour so far.
Yeah, well, let's not get carried away too early, Joe. 24 minutes remaining. Kolohe can still come back, but he needs a 9.5. Now, I was trying to think about the way Kolohe serves to get that 9.5, Joe. You know, John well and truly on his way here. I mean, he's looking so sharp, but I think Kolohe's got to go to the air. I think he's going to have to combo it up, do some big turns, and then just really send it like he said. You know, he's going to need a special kind of wave. He doesn't need anything substandard right now. He's really got to light it up and do exactly what he said. Send it in these next few rolls of the dice.
I remember talking to Travis Logie, longtime competitor on the championship tour. His reaction to John's performance that one year in 2017, he's like, as a competitor, you'd have to basically tell yourself that you have the same ability, even though you might not. He said, as you train to compete against John, you have to believe that you can not just produce the same, or maybe figure out how to get it done, whether it's working on your equipment or certain types of waves to train. But basically the reaction was he was levels above the rest. That amazing run to the final that year, because he had to surf a lot of heats on finals day.
Yep.
And I loved how Kolohe said he was preparing for John. He knows he has to bring out everything. So even though he needs a 9.5 now, I think he's mentally ready for a comeback in this heat.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. You know, I think he's got to be very patient, though. You know, I think he's got to trust his abilities, trust his decision making. But his first thing he's got to really focus on right now is wave selection. He's got to make sure he gets the right wave. He's got to make sure that he's just really on edge and produces some amazing surfing. He's got to really let it all hang out.
Kolohe Andino proving to himself that he's an absolute threat on this wave. Has the same coach in Mike Parsons, so Parsons being a super coach at this venue. At the last stop at Karamas, Jake Patterson was the super coach, getting wins with Gilmore and also Kano Igarashi. And so Mike Parsons wants to be the guy to sweep this event with a big win for Lakey. And he's been in Kolohe's corner ever since Kolohe was just a little kid. Kolohe growing up in San Clemente, his father Dino Andino, one of the best surfers to ever come out of California. Dino, a former Rookie of the Year on the championship tour, competed at all these venues for many years, along with Mike Parsons. In Kolohe's household, it was pretty normal to have pro surfers coming by, like Shane Beshin and the crew in San Clemente that has so much talent. Dino growing up out surfing the San Clemente Pier with guys like Matt Archbold. And the pier was kind of a wild place back then. A lot of kids weren't really allowed to hang out down there. Lots changed. Here comes a frontside hook from Kolohe. Nice clean rhythm down the line, attacking a big section, staying on his feet. John Florence will catch up to him, getting caught behind. He's out of there. Kolohe needs a 9.5 for the win, but he also can ditch that 5.5.
Yeah, you know, you can literally better both of his scores. But at the end of the day, Joe, he's going to need a score up into the 9-point range. There's no doubt about that. He's got to go excellent a couple of times now. Let's have a look. Bigger set wave. A later drop. He needs to send it on this one. Nice little opening turn. Gets covered up again, so creating a little bit of drama with that maneuver. Snap to float to finish. It's definitely better, but is it up into that 9-point range? I'm not quite sure, Joe. I think that first turn, he's got to find a wave that stands up a little steeper for him. And then that 2-for-1 combo, cut that turn short to finish that beautiful finishing turn off. definitely better, definitely going to improve his situation, but a 9.5 is what's required. Super late drop. Nice, straight into that first maneuver. Cuts back all the way into the whitewater and gets covered up, which is going to create that little bit of excitement. Sort of a mid-face snap turn there, and just to make sure he keeps his speed to finish that off. I'd like to see maybe going into a reverse on that last maneuver, maybe throwing something different. I think he's going to need something different to really combo that those maneuvers up to get those 9-point rides.
Well, as you can tell, the judges haven't put a number in the screen yet. They'll take a moment to check out the replay. They've got a gigantic monitor in the judges' tower. They've got the best angle on the cliff as well. When I stopped by and visited them the other day, I could see how clear they could see the takeoff at the main break just by looking out the window. And then they have a nice clear vision just to take another look. And head judge Pratamo Arendt, when I was in there, every time they'll take a look at the screen just to double check. Florence up, huge wind up, and keeps that high line as he just shoves it back into the pocket. Quick wrap through the foam. He's got the wind up for the end section, stays on his feet. I feel like John could go to parts of the wave with power that a lot of people can't go to with that real high line approach. A bomb out the back for Andino. Nice easy pace wrap, pushing out in front. Clean carve again, looking for a big finish. Sets the lip line up off the top and stays on his feet. Nice controlled surfing from Kolohe. And now judges playing some catch up. A couple of scores to come in with 18:25 to go in the final.
It is getting better and better, isn't it, Joe? These guys starting to work it out, and it's just drawing that right line on the wave. I think is the important part. You know, I think both guys are catching very similar kind of waves, but it's just being able to read a different line, and this is that line we're talking about with John John, just that double layback, double hand layback that he produced on that occasion. Kept that really high on the sort of the top part of the wave. He's got to do something special to better that 7.67, but let's have a look. Mid-face turn, and then drives into it. Now he starts to extend the body, cranks it around, and it just puts him right back in the perfect spot in the wave. I mean, you can't teach that. You can't. And it's very, very hard to learn that, you know. I mean, it's something you either have it or you don't, you know. And I think you watch how John approaches this wave, and it's completely different, you know, draws completely different lines, puts different maneuvers in where, you know, most people are just struggling to do an average turn. Andino, beautiful flowing maneuver there, get himself back up and over that little ledge. And again, just another sort of transition move. What's he got for us here at the end? A nice finish as well. So he's looking strong. A couple of big scores on the board, but I think it's just lacking that little bit of flair that we need to see to go up into that excellent range. 7.93 on that last ride for Kolohe. So he's right there, but honestly, he needs a couple of massive 8s to combat that 9-point ride that John's got. I like the way he held the rail there for a bit, and then he starts to drive into it. Keeps that upper body nice and vertical. Drops back down again, and big snap right there as well. So Kolohe looking sharp. I mean, he's got some good scores on the board, but just isn't enough at the moment. That turn there, I'd like to see him go to the air. You know, he said he was going to send it. We need to see him do that in this next little bit. 16.5, just under 16.5 to go. And he's looking for an 8.75. And for me, a couple of big turns out the back, Joe. Comes in the inside and sends it. Big air reverse or a big alley-oop. And we could see that go excellent.
Wow, with this strong wind too, that would be incredible to see him pull one of those big maneuvers down. Throughout the day, it's been all about just power surfing. And like you said, the way Florence carved on that last wave, we're still waiting for that score to come through. I don't think anyone else has that type of carve on tour.
So how do you beat that? So how do you beat that? If you don't have it, how do you beat it? By doing something that John's not doing. You know, you've got to have some sort of point of difference, right? And I think for Kolohe, he's amazing in the air. He's got the air game as good as anyone. You know, and on today's performance so far, he's not matching that rail surfing with John John, so he's got to show something different, and for me, it's the air game.
I'm enjoying the whole performance. Florence doing a crazy highline wrap and just shoved it into the guts of the wave with so much power and authority. Strider, you've got a great view of this final. It's living up to the expectations today.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and you guys are talking about what Kolohe has to do to take John out. And you know what? On the rail, I don't think he can do it. He's talked about having the power game, but we haven't seen it. So it's time to show it. If you got it, it's really going to be hard for him to try and match that. So what Potts is saying is a point of difference. Well, this wind is going to make that really hard to go above the lip, to do anything in the air. Maybe on that inside section, sending that tail to the beach, but even then, there's just too much wind, I think, and he'd have to go left and try to do a huge backside 3, which in these chops and on this face is going to be really, really hard to do. And another thing I'd really love to see right now is Matt Biolos and John Peisel and their faces in watching this final, because it'd be pretty fun to see the two shapers and watch their faces as this thing plays out.
Oh, thank you so much, Strider. As we know, the surfboards are so important at every venue on tour, but John Peisel seemed to figure out the secret for main break with John Florence back when they released the 6.2 Ghost that saw that performance seen around the world. Florence out in front, 9 and a 7.67. Kolohe still needs an 8.75 to take the win. We'll be right back. Let's take a moment to flash back to 2017. Kolohe Andino versus John John Florence here at the main break. Cleaner conditions with less wind, but just as much power in every single hack on the way for John's victory and on the way to his second world title early in the season, Potts.
Yeah, you know, no one was going to beat John on this day. He just went to that next level, and you know, it was unfortunate to come up against him. Kolohe surfed incredibly well. See, something like that maybe can get him back into this final. You know, he was doing something different, but he just wasn't on the waves that John had. John was in rhythm, and to be honest with you, even Superman wasn't going to beat John on that day.
Unbelievable performance, and we'll be referencing that win for a very long time. Something just different happened in the surfing world, and Florence kind of proving that it wasn't a mistake. I feel like he's even better than he was that year. Looking at all those numbers on the road to that win, check out all the 19-plus totals. We even got a chance to have Jack Freestone in the booth, who was in the semifinals. He was ripping that event.
Yeah.
And he was just saying, well, he had the best view in the house for one of the best performances in surfing history.
Yeah, apart from round one, I think he comboed everyone all the way through the field. So don't feel bad if you lose to John on a day like that. I mean, there's not much you can do, is there?
And he always had the reputation of being the best surfer in the world, kind of voted by his peers before he finally clinched the world title. When Adriano won this event, that was the first thing he said. I just beat the best surfer in the world based on just what he does in free surfs, how he carries himself in the water in heavy conditions. He's won the Eddie along with his 2 world titles, so he's basically got it all. And it was just a matter of time to figure out how to compete with strategy, not making mistakes, where sometimes he was the best surfer in the event with the highest numbers, but not getting those event wins. And Florence tightening it all up and really saying that downtime he had last year really helped him focus to come back to the tour with fresh eyes. Still 10:55 on the clock. Kolohe Andino 7.93, 7.17 as his top 2, putting in an incredible performance. He's often talked about as the most finaled surfer without an event win. Runner-up on the Gold Coast for the 2nd time in his career, making this final for the 2nd time in his career as well. As he's already number 5 in the world, he'll be moving up on the Jeep leaderboard. And what a crazy percentage for Florence, getting excellent heats. He's talking 16-plus totals. One of the highest scoring athletes of all time.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's just going to continue happening, unfortunately. He's just going to get better and better. You know, that time off just did him wonders. And it'd be kind of cool if everyone could do that. Everyone could just have a little bit of time off to get away from it and sort of divorce yourself from it. Sometimes you're so close to it and you get so caught up, and it's so easy to snowball in the wrong direction. It'd be kind of cool if you know, you could actually get away from it for a little bit and you know, just have a look at from a distance and see what's going on and get those juices flowing again.
So true. Obviously, Florence said it was the toughest part was being out of the water for so long. He'd go paddling, he'd go sailing, and that helped him just being in the ocean because that's his favorite place to be. But staying off a surfboard, and he didn't want to even think about coming back. until he was 100%, because the last thing he wants to do is hold back or surf through pain. He actually said he was going to be back for pipe last year and then decided that he wasn't ready yet, and I think that was such a smart move, even though we all wanted to see him so badly in the jersey on his home break.
Yep.
But Potts, we got to learn how John does it. He has a 9-point ride, a break down that form and that front side carve that we all want to do.
Yeah, well, if we stop it right there, obviously, John, number one thing is the eyes. The eyes are looking at this section right here. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to anticipate what that wave's going to do. He's going to try and get there right at the perfect time, which he does. So if we continue forward just a little bit, you see how nice and compressed he is. Now, if we stop there, so what a lot of guys are thinking is they come out and they do this nice little slashing maneuver like that. But what John does, which I really love, he brings it up here, he gets it to about there, and then he does this extra little rah. And I think that's the point of difference with John. If we continue through that maneuver, he comes off the bottom into that normal turn where you think, okay, he's just going to do a nice little sort of a down carve, and then what does he do? He gets to this point here, and then the body gets the extra little bit of influence and gives it that extra little kick there. That's the point of difference. I mean, look at the body position he's in. I mean, not many people do that. They sort of get into that down carve and then want to flow out of that turn. John doesn't quit on it, and he just does that full wrap. I mean, that is just unbelievable stuff. No one does it, and that's why you've got to find a point of difference out here at main break to beat that. And I think in the air is probably the way to go for Kolohe. And this is the split screen. So you can see Kolohe gives it that wrap. John is just way more, there's more rail involved, there's more power, more carve. And to rival that, you've got to be number one on the right wave. Number two, you've got to have superhuman talents. Kolohe is surfing incredibly well, don't get me wrong, but when John's on fire out here at main break, it's going to be a difficult thing to beat him.
7:25 on the clock. Florence a 9 and a 7.67 for another massive heat total. Won the Rookie of the Year race back against Gabriel Medina. One of the craziest rookie classes of all time with himself, Medina, and Miguel Pupo. And obviously Medina and John both with 2 world titles. Gabriel knocked out at the box against Kyle Webeli is making this comeback for John very incredible. And seeing John even knocked out early at Karamas is keeping some space on the Jeep leaderboard for guys to step up. Kolohe will obviously feel the success of going the distance in this final, still with the shot to win. An 8.75 is within his range. The tough part is when Strider broke down the conditions, it just feels like it's really challenging to find an air section with this wind breeze really picking up. As you can see all the ribs on the open face. Into the heat recap, Kolohe Andino wanted to get a quick start. Said he was going to send it in the heat against John, and he's been surfing incredibly well. Got a 4 early, then right into a 7.17.
Yeah, you know, and then it was only a matter of time, wasn't it, before this man got going, find his groove and get himself on the board, and he did that with a 7.67. Right here, you can tell that he was slowly getting into that rhythm and into that groove where we're going to see something special. This wave was just, he made sure he finished, created a little bit of drama at the end of that one there. And then it was lights out, look out, here we go, upside down, under the lip turn, takeoff there for John. Beautiful opening maneuver, look at this turn, rah, and again, comes off the bottom. Just that extra little bit that he gives these maneuvers, which is what makes it special. And then here, holding that rail with that extra little tweak at the end. And in that slow-mo, you can just see the body language that John gets himself into, how his body is twisting and turning. Takes a lot of core strength to surf like that, man, and no doubt that was a 9.0.
John John Florence with 6 wins in his career, tied with Jordy Smith, who are currently still battling for titles together on the Jeep leaderboard. If he can get a win here, he'll be matched with De Souza and Felipe with 7. Kelly obviously with the most with 55, and Medina with 12 wins, along with those 2 world titles and a Triple Crown title, something that John's won a few times. Now hitting the 5-minute mark. Ocean feels like it's almost calming down after some serious sets were pouring through. And we just got to see more versions of that frontside carve. For the Bells final, John was an instant favorite. When the waves really picked up on that finals day, that was absolutely massive. And on that one, he kind of repeated that big layback half that was really high scoring. Really cool to see at the main break. A lot of different versions of his frontside carves because he's got a lot more time to really lay down that rail, mix it up with layback turns. and given us basically an incredible display of power surfing.
With the jersey on, you know, and that's the amazing part. Like, you know, when you get yourself in the final, you know, the stress and the pressure of that competitive arena can sometimes, you know, really throw your timing off. You know, sometimes you're trying too hard, so things don't flow like they normally do in a free surf. But I mean, these guys are so good that they do their best surfing with the jersey on, and that's the amazing part. You know, to be able to condense it all into a 35-minute heat or a 40-minute heat, whichever it is. To be able to produce your best surfing, literally highlight clips for your movies go down in these events.
So cool to see John come in as a rookie and win major events. We had Parco here the other day. He had a final with John John back in Rio de Janeiro, where Florence was able to do a big full rotation to show that he has a crazy ability to surf under pressure when he needed big scores. He just moves his positioning a little bit underneath Kolohe, just showing how sharp he is with tactics, managing his time well. So instead of sitting out the back, he's going to keep an eye on Kolohe for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? He's in the perfect spot. It's exactly what you want to do. Get that lead, you know, post a couple of big scores. Make sure your opponent is looking for something special. 8.75 is what Kolohe needs. John sitting out the back now with priority as well. And you can see where he's positioned himself. He's kind of playing that defense role. And you know what? He never used to do that. He's kind of used to just play his own game. And that's the whole thing with him perfecting his competitive prowess. Is learning how to shut heats down, learning how to be that guy. Sometimes you don't want to be that guy that plays defense, but at this level, you've got it. It's part of the game. Otherwise, guys are going to paddle rings around you like Zeke did. And I don't think he's going to let that happen again. You know, he's learning from all that stuff, and you put all that mental stuff together with his talent, and he's becoming that complete package.
2:30 remaining. Thinking about that wave was Kolohe. They'll let it run through. Remember, it's up to John with priority. If he will let Kolohe take a wave out here. 2:15, and they're both going to get swallowed up by that set. And looks like they traded places as that wave has so much power.
Yeah, I think Kolohe was almost trying to go that one. And it kind of washed him up and over John John.
Now down to 1:55. Lakey Peterson just won the women's event over Tatiana Weston Webb. And Kolohe's support crew just discussing the final.
145. How many conversations they've had about Kolohe's hits?
Oh, probably countless. Before he was even in the jersey, I think it started.
You know?
His destiny was clear. He was going to be one of the best surfers in the world. Kolohe was such a cool little grommet who had such a big spotlight on him, and he handled it so well as a little kid. John did too. These guys were both the most talked about super grommets, maybe in history. John being on covers when he was just a little kid, knowing that he'd be a world champ one day, and Kolohe's in that same mold, coming from Southern California, in the backyard of the surf industry. He's handled all those interviews and questions about pressure so well. Growing up basically in front of us on tour, Red Bull put together the 21 Days piece with Kolohe, and it brought me to tears. Just seeing how much hard work and passion goes on behind the scenes. He gives you his heart every time he puts the jersey on. That's why his heats are so fun to watch. John will take priority and lay down a massive layback hack off the lip. There's the carve to tail release. And having a blast on what might be his last wave here at the main break. His good friend Brandon Wasserman loving that performance, and he's going to call it a final. What a way to finish off your heat, belting the lip multiple times with 10 seconds to go.
Well, you know why he took that wave now. You know, it was not just a defensive move, but it actually did have a good line on it. It did have scoring potential, and there it is. Your champion, even without that last ride, Joe.
John John Florence is your 2019 Margaret River Pro Champion. For the second time in his career, he dominates the box in the main break, and once again over Kolohe Andino in an incredible final. His favorite number seems to be 9s out here. Why not finish your last wave with a 9.5?
Oh my gosh. Just a dominant performance, and again, 18.50, Joe. Fortunate for Kolohe. What was the final back in 2017? 19.03. Right up there again.
Pretty scary when you see someone with so much confidence repeat so much success on the same venue. And for Kolohe, he's got to be proud. He was the last man standing once again to John John. His second final appearance of 2019. And now John with 2 wins this season. He's already with Strider.
Johnny, congratulations. Huge win out here. You've got something special.
Oh my gosh, I'm so stoked. It's, Kolohe's been ripping the whole event, and I'm just super stoked. It was a hard event to surf. A lot of different conditions, a lot of wind, and I'm out.
5,700 points out in front at this point now with that win.
Yeah, that's great. I'm stoked on that. Still think it's pretty early in the year though. Anything can happen, and I'm just having fun right now. Stoked to be back on tour, back competing, and just surfing and having fun again.
Seems to run in the blood. Mom rips, your brothers rip. Nathan taking the win at Cape Fear. Ivan's doing flips inside the tunnels, just killing it. What is it with you and the family? You guys all seem to have something in the blood.
Yeah, I think just growing up on the North Shore, my mom raised us all skating and surfing and spending every day at the beach. We went to school at Sunset Elementary, so it's just straight to the beach after school, and I think we all just enjoy what we do and we love it. And having 2 brothers to grow up with and my friends back at home, those guys have pushed me more than anyone, and so yeah, it's so awesome.
Well, there you have it. Margaret River Pro Champion, John John Florence. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So cool to see John John Florence back in the jersey, but back to world #1. It's just another statement on his comeback. Kind of recovering from last year, which was pretty uncomfortable. Getting back on tour to the Gold Coast, losing early to Mikey Wright, having the heat with Zeke, injuring himself in frustration after the loss of Jesse Mendez, and that just sidelined him for a year, which he's now looking back and so thankful and grateful for that time off. Trained and got to look at the tour go by without him in different eyes, and coming back to get the Jeep Leaders jersey, to have 2 big wins and a little bit more room on the Jeep leaderboard heading into Rio.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing everything right now. Surfing incredibly well, and as you said, 2 wins coming out of the first 4 events. He's going to be tough to beat. We're going to some of his pet events, Chopu. I think he's going to be very difficult. I think Jay Bay too. I think he's going to find some extra form there. It's another way we haven't really seen him produce his best at.
John, can you please sign my surfboard?
Well, we can see John being swamped down there at the keyhole as we see Kolohe Andino make his way up the boardwalk, everybody. So can you please put your hands together and make a whole lot of noise for Kolohe, because he put on such an insane display of surfing this week. It took John to throw down a 9.5 as the last wave written and a 9 to take him down. But we love your work there, Kolohe. Thanks for coming. Absolutely, I'm going to back you up on that statement, me old mate. It actually took Kolohe to bring out the best from John John, and that's the way I see that he knew he had a very
Florence getting such a solid ride up the stairs. That's a tough responsibility on that chair. He's a big kid. We'll see if they commit to the top. I mean, this ride's already in the excellent range. If they make it to the top, we might finish this final with a 10.
Yeah, exactly right. A few more steps to go, boys. Come on.
7th win of his career, 2nd win of the season, as he's on top of the world. And to use priority to shut that heat down, but to get the best score of the final, what a statement. 9.5 and a 9, his top 2 rides against Kolohe.
Hey.
Yeah, it's all about saving your best for last, isn't it? And it's about peaking at the right time. And people talk about trying to do that. It's not an easy thing to do, but to be able to finish the event with a 9.5, your best wave of the event, is pretty special.
What an incredible show. Our champions, Lakey Peterson and John John Florence, owning the Margaret River Pro. Coming up next, it's the WSL Post Show to break down all the action at stop number 4 with Ronnie Blakey, Barton Lynch, and Martin Potter. We'll be right back.
Do you like that? Well, if so, subscribe over there, and then watch more videos over there. And then tell us your favorite videos down there. It's a 3-step process. Do them all now.